Hey, welcome back to my channel, Redeemed Carnivore. This one is going to be a little bit of a what I eat kind of deal. For about 6 months now, I have been totally carnivore, which means I do not eat plants, I don't eat seed oils, nothing. If it doesn't have a face, or it was going to have a face, like eggs, I eat it. That would be, for me, deer, lamb, fish, sometimes fish. I have to be in the mood for fish. Sardines, salmon, I'll eat that pretty often. Hamburger meat, any type of cow. I don't eat a lot of the organ meats. I really don't like them. They may be good for you, but I just don't like them. Now, I do eat chicken livers from time to time, and I think it's because my body is needing it, because I will crave them. Otherwise, I don't eat them. I will eat uh, eggs, fried, scrambled, egg pudding. Bella from Steak and Burger Gal, she got me on that, and it's really good. I use the egg yolks. I don't use the whole egg because for me, I can't get it right because you have to steam it. It's a pudding and you have to steam it. I can't get it right with the whole egg, so I just use the egg yolks. Anyhow, I cook for my family every day, so if I'm going to eat what they cook, if I'm going to eat what they eat, I just have to modify it. For example, tonight I fixed meatballs and gravy. Well, obviously I wouldn't eat the gravy. There is a way you can, but I do not eat dairy because, number one, I'm allergic to dairy. It gives me terrible stomach pains. So I've cut it out. I've tried the Kerrygold grass-fed, grass-finished butter. I could eat it for a while, but I noticed that I started craving it because dairy has a sweet taste to it, and it does have an amount of sugar and carbs in it. It may not say it on the package, but it has a trivial amount, and after time it does accumulate, and it just triggers me. It triggers my sugar addiction, so I have to cut it out. So I do not eat dairy of any sort. And you may think, okay, so what do you do if you don't eat butter? I will roast a whole chicken. I will take the grease from roasting the chicken, and that's what I use to like grease my pan or something like that. I have taken the hamburger grease and done the same thing. I've recently discovered duck. I love duck. It's a little bit more difficult to wrestle with. It's what I call wrestling with the chicken, and because I take the skin off. The skin is the absolute best part. The duck skin is even better, but they're a little bit harder to wrestle. So I will take duck fat and do it. I recently went to a store that's in another town, and they had beef suet or beef fat, the little trimmings. They sold it to me, and I was like, so I'm able to cook that down, use the fat from it to grease my pan and whatever. So as far as fat, that is what I eat. I do not eat any avocados. I don't use avocado oil. I don't use olive oil. None of that. Because you're not sure of what you're exactly getting. It may not be 100% pure. A lot of times factories will put fillers in that, and call it pure when it's really not. If I get a hold of vegetable oil, soybean oil, anything like that, I will get a migraine. In fact, I went to a gathering that was in another town, and they had an arts and crafts thing, and the woman was selling pork skins that she had cooked. She cooked it in vegetable oil. I should have known, and I should have realized. But the craving for the pork skins, because I haven't had them in 4 or 5 months, and I was hungry. I ate a handful of them because they were pretty good size. The next day, I had a migraine. So I had to give them away and say I can't eat them. So I've learned. I also have gout. It will flare up if I eat pork. So I do not eat any bacon. I don't eat pork chops, pork ribs. I've never really liked pork ribs. I have tried a small amount of a grilled pork chop, the boneless pork chop. I did try a little bit of that, and it didn't bother me very much, but it kind of upset my stomach. So I've had a lot of issues with my stomach. So that's one of the main reasons why I went carnivore. I started out on my diet journey doing just low carb. I would eat the nuts, I would eat the cheese, I would eat, the fat bombs and that sort of thing. And I did lose quite a bit of weight. I also was going to the gym, but it got to the point to where I was eating so much of that that I was defeating the purpose. So I started cutting it back, and I started losing more weight. When my addiction really got bad after my mother passed away, I went straight carnivore because I'm not one that can moderate. I know I've talked about that in another video. You're either a moderator or you're an abstainer. I'm an abstainer. I cannot just have one piece and leave it alone. It just doesn't happen for me. So a lot of people on keto will eat peanut butter. They'll eat stuff like that. I can't do that. For me, I cannot. Peanut butter is a trigger, and I associate it with my mother. So um, I've also been reading Judy Cho's book, Carnivore Cure. And in there, she does talk about peanuts and peanut butter and says that some of it actually has mold in it. And it's worse for you than eating this standard American diet. So, you know, peanut butter's nothing but a type of bean. So if you're on keto and low carb, why would you eat peanut butter? That has never made sense to me. But that's just me. My typical day lately has been I've eaten 1 to 2 meals a day. I get kind of hungry in the morning, so I've tried to wait until lunch and then eat from like 11 to 2 and then call it done. If I eat later in the day, I find that early in the morning I'm hungry. So I've been trying to cut back on my meals. That being said, I'm losing, but I'm not losing all that fast. There's been a few issues. So I tried this morning eating around 9 o'clock, and I had the rest of my roasted duck. I couldn't tell you how much it was because I don't weigh food. And then I got to the point to where I was eating and like, okay, I've had enough of this. I can't eat as much as I used to as well. I've noticed that my portion size has gone completely down. So around 2, 3 o'clock, I was fixing lunch slash supper for my family. And I thought, well, okay, I'll eat the rest of my duck. And then it was only like 2 or 3 pieces that were, kind of small, and 2 boiled eggs. And I was like, okay, I'm done with that. I was having to choke it down. I was hungry, but not really hungry. I'm fine, and I'm finding that out. I read a thing on Instagram that said, eat when you're hungry. Just because the clock says a certain time, I've been so used to, for years when I worked, that your lunch break is from 12 to 1. You better wolf down that food in 30 minutes and get yourself back to work. I've been so accustomed to that that it's still ingrained in me. And I think, oh, 12 o'clock, I've got to eat. Well, are you really hungry? Sometimes in the morning I'll wake up and I'll be hungry. Well, then I'll drink coffee. And I have gotten to where I drink decaf coffee. So, the coffee kind of held off the hunger. Today I'm on day 5 of no coffee whatsoever, no decaf. I found that on day 3 I had a bunch of energy, and then I overdid it. Yesterday I was so exhausted. I woke up exhausted and I couldn't hardly do anything all day. So, lesson learned. But I'm trying to get rid of the coffee because it's the process that they do from Judy Cho's book. Again, the way that they process decaf coffee and decaf teas is actually using more chemicals and actually staying in the coffee, in the tea, than you're ingesting them. So another reason why, and another also, I've actually become addicted to it. I was addicted to coffee. It's always like I've got to have my coffee first thing in the morning. Go around with a coffee mug, microwave it 3 or 4 times because I forget where it's at, and it's just enough. So the first 3 days, I did hot water in a mug. The first 2 days were fine. Third day, nah. Fourth day, this ain't cutting it no more. So I'm not even doing that anymore. I'm okay. My sleep has kind of been up and down since that day that I overdid it. My sleep has been kind of, so I'm trying to get that regulated. But that's kind of a typical day for me. What I do personally, if I'm going to cook, I cook a little bit extra and I eat leftovers. I don't go through the drive-thru at McDonald's and get hamburger patties. I don't go to the grocery store because I forgot my lunch and eat. I don't eat keto bars. I don't eat carnivore crisp. I don't, because that's, to me, that's snacky. And I don't do it. Plus, I don't trust some of these restaurants. You don't know that it's actually meat. They could tell you it's meat. They could show you on the nutritional value thing that it's meat, and it could have soy in it. And if I ingest soy, I'm going to get a migraine. So, no, I'll do my own. I do not eat hot dogs because if you read the ingredients, I don't go by that nutritional little graph, because the FDA can have less than 5% of something in there and not have to put it on that nutritional thing. But they have to list the ingredients down at the bottom. I did do some research on that. And if it says sugar, maltodextrin, dextrose, corn syrup, I don't eat it. Just about every one of the hot dogs that I have looked at, they may be all beef. Great. Down in the ingredients, they have sugar. And I'm just not going to take a chance on ingesting sugar and having to backtrack. I've come so far, I'm not going to do it. So for me, I just don't do it. I don't eat bacon. I don't eat turkey bacon because it will have sugar in it. Do I miss bacon? Every once in a while. Not really. But again, that is what works for me. I ate turkey, ground turkey. I never really did the ground chicken. I always do like chicken breast or a whole chicken, thighs. And here lately I've tried to get with the skin on because I love the crispy skin. That's the best part. I've tried to go to darker chicken meat because the white meat has gotten to where it's dry and it chokes me. So I guess that has to do with age too. But I've also tried to go with fasting. Fasting used to be for a while for me. I could handle it great. When I went back to eating crap and then tried to fast, my body said, mm-mm. So I'm slowly trying to get back into the fasting. I've cut back on my meals. For instance, before all of the grief and all that, we went to a steakhouse and I ordered the biggest steak they had, which was a 72 ounce. And my husband, he ordered steak, but he also had the sides and everything. He doesn't eat like me. He loves meat, but he eats potatoes and chips and that sort of thing. And he bet me that I couldn't eat it. And of course, I was like, challenge accepted. Actually, I didn't do it just because of the challenge. I was actually able to eat the whole 72 ounce. The waitress was so impressed because I had lost so much weight and, I wasn't heavy. I was kind of small, and she's like, there's no way she's going to finish that. And I did. And they even gave us our appetizer for free, which I didn't eat because it was like a blooming onion or something like that. I didn't eat it. And my husband couldn't even finish all of his food. So that was kind of a joke, but there's no way now. I took a ribeye the other day, and a ribeye was, pretty good standard ribeye. I cut it in half and ate half of it. I put it in the air fryer, and it was really good. It was crispy on the outside, but it's medium rare, medium on the inside. It was really good. And I had 10 raw shrimp that I had cooked in the fat from the salmon. I had put it in an air fryer too. That's good too. And saved the fat from it. Well, I just stuck it in the pan with the 10 shrimp and just kind of cooked them. And I was full the whole day. I didn't eat anything else. I ate that at lunch. That was all I ate. Just that little piece. So my portions have gotten to be really smaller. I'm really trying to drink more water. Do I intake a lot of salt? There's days I do and days I don't. Most days, no, I do not. Because salt for me gives me hot flashes and just raises my temperature, and I don't do it. Now, I will do an Epsom salt bath 2 to 3 times a week for 20, 30 minutes. I've even made my own Epsom salt spray, like magnesium spray. I just took about this much of the Epsom salt, put it in a glass amber spray bottle, filled it up with some distilled water, shook it up and just let it dissolve by itself and shake it up. And I'll spray the back of my calves. Like, I have had leg cramps, and it's because your magnesium level is going down. So I've tried to do that whenever I feel like my legs are kind of jumpy. But I also know if you drink the proper amount of water, which is half of your body weight in ounces. That's what I've researched and that's what I found. So that's what I've been doing. I've also tried the sun's been out finally. last week, I've also tried to get as much vitamin D as possible. It makes me happy. It makes me feel better. That helps a lot. Magnesium and vitamin D go together. So you need vitamin D. Get out in the sun as much as you can, 15, 20 minutes without sunscreen. Also, take magnesium. Find a good source of magnesium. Try not to have a lot of stuff in it. I've cut down on my supplements. I was supplementing quite a bit when I first started keto. It was GABA, 5-HTP, because I would have leg cramps at night, and those two together would help. I was also taking B complex during the day and also iodine drops. I've cut back on that. The probiotic I was taking, I've cut out that for a little while to see how I handle things. I'm trying to get back to not taking so many supplements and to supplement with my food. I've also been craving raw oysters for some reason, and I know it's probably not ideal. Fresh is the best, but I got a small can of oysters that I'm going to eat because it has a lot of iodine, selenium, all of this stuff that you really need. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I don't really do much else. I do try to walk twice a day. When I had so much energy, I walked 3 times, and I think that just really kind of, because I wasn't used to it. And I need to get back to exercising and lifting. I do have, all right, loose skin from losing so much weight. I do have that, and I've got it on my legs. I would love to get rid of that. Surgery would be best, but insurance does not pay for that. And I'm not going to make a GoFundMe page to do that. But anyhow, I'd love to have that done, but reality is I won't, because I won't be able to afford it. So I will try lifting weights, not like massive, but start out slow, doing some body weight exercises and getting back into the swing of things now that it's summer and it's warmer and I can get out. I'll probably do that. But that's all I'm doing for right now. Um, Not much else. I'm not eating as much beef because I was thinking that beef was possibly hurting my stomach. I didn't know. I've been eating the last couple of days like 2 boiled eggs, and I had backed off of, and I've backed off of eggs too. My blood work came back and it was not good, so the doctor wanted to put me on statins, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking them. Your body needs all of the fats. It needs cholesterol. Your brain is made up of 3/4 cholesterol. It needs the cholesterol. What your body doesn't need is the inflammation. I'm not going to have a heart attack from having high cholesterol and high triglycerides. What I am going to have a heart attack from is the inflammation in my body. So I've been trying to cut back on the eggs, thinking, because I was eating like a dozen eggs a day, especially the yolks. That's a lot of fat. Not that it's bad. Don't panic and don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for me, I'm going to back off of the fat and eat a little bit more protein. Maria Emmerich does the protein sparing modified fast, to where you eat a higher number of grams of protein, and lower fat on days. You don't do it all the time. I may dabble with that and see what my body does. Maybe I'm eating too much egg yolks and it's causing me problems. I don't know. Uh, your body is kind of fluid and it's kind of like a trial and error. What works for this time, it's not going to work next time because I'm finding that out. So, I've rambled long enough. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, email me, redeemedcarnivore7@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer. I'll be happy to talk to you. If you have any comments, suggestions, what you'd like for me to talk about, I would still love to have one of my friends to come on here and talk with me about her way of eating and my way of eating and what we've learned and what we don't like and see how it goes. But thank y'all for watching. Have a great evening. I'll talk to you again.